Born with color blindness, I was just crushed under the big bed late at night. His deep, booming voice is so sexy. This shameless, carefree life really takes a toll on my lower back and weakens my kidneys. I face blindness, but I know our company's CEO is incredibly handsome, cold, and impeccably refined. But I'm not interested. Because our company has lots of handsome guys. It seems like every handsome guy really likes me. It's just that every handsome guy seems to be wearing a watch that's exactly the same as the big CEO's. Wow, look at that guy, he is so handsome. Is he the new hire at our company? I was gossiping with the colleague next to me about the handsome guy who just walked into our company. It's our boss, my colleague said helplessly. Ah, thanks, Yutong. Him Jiamin. Wait for the elevator. In the morning, I rushed over in a hurry and squeezed into the elevator just as it was about to close. But I saw that the elevator was completely empty. There was only one person standing inside. I looked at the group of people standing outside the elevator and asked, puzzled, "Aren't you kidding, huh?" They quickly shook their heads and took a step back. I felt a bit strange. The elevator doors closed, and a slender pair of fingers beside them pressed the button for the elevator's floor. I also quickly pressed the button for my own floor. Then she looked up at the tall person inside the elevator. Wow, so handsome. I shyly hurried to tidy up my appearance. I was just rushing around so much that I completely forgot to pay attention to my appearance. Should we say hello? Should we ask which department he is from? Oh dear, how did I arrive so quickly? I could only walk out, dejected and downcast. I was sitting at my desk when I saw a colleague who had just come in, so I quickly shared it with them. Gee, man, I just ran into a really handsome guy in the elevator. But it's such a pity, I don't know which department he is in. My colleague glanced at me with a blank expression and said, "That's our company's CEO, huh? How did you know that hot guy is the big boss?" I said in surprise. "Because I just stood outside the elevator and saw you rush in." Also, Yu Tong. Yu Tong, you and Jiamin wore the same color of clothes yesterday. I just gave a weak smile in response. No wonder no one just entered the elevator. I heard the big boss is a ruthless shark in the business world, cold, unapproachable, and best left alone. Thank goodness I didn't strike up a conversation with him in the elevator, otherwise would have ended up dead in there, wouldn't we? I went to the cafeteria for lunch, and there was a figure ahead of me. I shouted excitedly to my two colleagues, "Wow, look at that guy, he is so handsome." Colleagues ground their teeth in unison, saying, "That's our big boss." "Ah, why are there so many bosses?" I said regretfully. Two colleagues, to avoid the awkwardness of not recognizing acquaintances when you run into them in the cafeteria. This noon, I took my lunchbox up to the company rooftop. I was sitting on the rooftop bench, eating a meal. They looked up and suddenly, there was a person right ahead, a collarless shirt, antenna minus like long legs, and a sculpted profile. He was standing by the railing talking on the phone in a relaxed and casual manner. So handsome. The rice in my mouth fell down into the lunchbox. After answering the phone, he put his phone down and turned his head to see me sitting here. I'm waving hello. He looked at me without saying a word. "Have you eaten yet?" I asked. He nodded. "Would you like to sit?" I enthusiastically pointed to the other end of the bench. He walked over and sat down. So handsome. The place down there is really lively, but even though there's a bit of wind up here on the rooftop, it's still pretty quiet and comfortable, isn't it? I'm chatting with him. He glanced at me, nodded, and then looked at the rice in my hand. Then I'll just keep eating. I was watching the handsome guy while eating, and I found the meal really fragrant and delicious. No wonder people say that beautiful sights are as appetizing as food itself. As it was almost time to go to work, I said goodbye to him and left. In the office, I was happily chatting with my colleague. "I ran into a super handsome guy on the rooftop today. How lucky am I?" My colleague looked at me, hesitated for a moment as if about to say something, then waved his hand dismissively. "Forget it, do whatever you want." You're just wasting my breath. What? I was puzzled, then let out a sound of surprise. Oh dear, I forgot to ask which department HES from. Another morning arrived at the office. My colleagues are talking about how the big boss has gone on a business trip. I'm thrilled, great. I finally won't mistake the big boss for a heartthrob anymore. For some reason, my colleagues were all rolling their eyes in exasperation. At noon, I happily headed to the rooftop carrying my lunchbox. I wonder if he'll come to the rooftop today. I can't wait. Unfortunately, the expectation was dashed. He didn't come. For several days in a row, I've been sighing out of boredom. Why haven't I been seeing any handsome guys lately? I used to see them all the time. The colleague next to him twitched his lips, left speechless. The next day, everyone was talking about the big boss's return. Many female colleagues were excitedly saying that they'd have another chance to see so many handsome bosses. I shook my head. There are so many handsome guys at the company. Why on earth would I have to fixate on that icy, aloof boss? How terrifying. When I went to the rooftop for lunch, I saw another handsome guy there again. HES standing right by the guardrail. So handsome, so handsome. I walked over and tentatively asked, "Hey, are you the person who talked to me here a few days ago?" He turned his head to look at me, frowning. "Sorry, I'm a bit colorblind," I said quietly. He looked at me quietly for a moment, then nodded once. I smiled happily and raised my eyebrows. "It really is you. Have you been super busy these past few days? I haven't seen you online at all." He nodded again. "Have you eaten yet?" I asked again. He still nodded. "So quiet and reserved." What a handsome and reserved guy. I like it. Then I'll go eat first. I then opened the lunchbox and started eating. Looking at that toe. Handsome guy is truly a feast for the eyes. A different kind of scenery on Zhongtai Mountain. "My name is Chu Yin Yin. What's your name?" "Lu Ziyan." Before I knew it, I'd become quite familiar with Lu Ziyan, the handsome guy from Tiantai. Every day at noon, without fail, I head up to the rooftop for lunch. This has become the thing I look forward to most each day. He still doesn't say much, but he always sits quietly beside me, listening to me chatter away about office gossip and my embarrassing stories of misidentifying people because I'm terrible at recognizing faces. Occasionally, he'll hand me a cold drink, and when the sun starts to beat down on me, he'll silently stand by my side to shield me from the glare. I'm increasingly convinced that HES is exactly my ideal type. Gentle, handsome, reserved and quietly caring for others. HES 10,000 times better than that rumored cold and ruthless boss. My colleagues kept giving me increasingly complicated looks as I ran up to the rooftop every single day. Finally, Yutong couldn't hold it in any longer and grabbed my arm, saying, "Yin Yin, can't you just snap out of it? That guy on the rooftop. Oh, that's none other than the big boss, Lu Ziyan. Oh, company treats him like just another handsome guy. Only, I widened my eyes. No way. The big boss is an iceberger. How could he possibly be such a gentle person?" Yu Tom put her hand to her forehead and said, "Even if you're bad with faces, could you at least take a look at that Patek Philippe he never takes off? HES the only one in the whole company who wears it." I lowered my head and thought back. It seemed every time I saw Lu Ziyan, he always had an identical watch on his wrist. But him face minus blind. I just can't tell them apart. I was giving up and decided to verify it myself. The next day at noon, I carried my lunchbox up to the rooftop, and sure enough, Lu Ziyan was already waiting for me there. After I sat down, I mustered up the courage to ask, "Lu Ziyan, are you the big boss of our company?" He turned his head to look at me, a hint of a smile hidden in the depths of his eyes, and said softly, "Yes." I froze instantly, and the lunchbox in my hand almost fell to the ground. "Then, why didn't you tell me earlier?" He raised an eyebrow. "You didn't ask." I pouted. "You knew full well I'm face minus blind. Yet you deliberately didn't remind me." Is it funny watching me treat you like just another handsome guy every single day? He chuckled softly, his voice deep and melodious. How interesting. It's so cute to see you gush over me every day. My face instantly turned red. So it turns out this guy already knew all along. All those gentle cares I thought I'd received were actually deliberate on his part. You? You're kidding me. I started to get up and walk away, but he grabbed my wrist. His strength was neither too light nor too heavy as he pulled me back into his arms. Leaning down close to me, his warm breath brushed against my cheek. I'm not playing games with you, Chu Yin Yin. I've been chasing after you for a long time. I was stunned. From the very first day you joined the company when you gushed over me, saying, "The new handsome guy is so cute. It already noticed you," he said, looking straight into my eyes with earnestness. "You're colorblind and can recognize me, yet every single time you still swoon over me. No matter what I look like, you always think I'm the new handsome guy. I deliberately made it a point to show up in front of you every day wearing the same watch just so you'd remember me. On that day, in the elevator, I deliberately waited for you to rush in just so we could be alone together. The rooftop, that was a spot I purposely saved, a place reserved exclusively for us. My head is buzzing. So it turns out all those coincidences were actually deliberately orchestrated by him. I know you're face minus blind and can't tell me apart from other handsome guys. So I've marked myself with the same watch. Just wait until the day you finally recognize me." He raised his hand, revealing that familiar wristwatch. "Now, do you recognize me yet?" I looked into his deep, piercing eyes and then at the familiar watch. Suddenly, all my doubts were answered. The handsome guy who smiles at me every day, every single one of those smiles is all for me. The quiet, thoughtful care he gives, it's all from his heartfelt intentions and that identical watch that everyone else has. It's his special secret code just for me. With red minus rimmed eyes, I punched him right in the chest. "Lu Zuyan. You big liar." He took my hand and pulled me into his embrace, his voice gentle. "Yes, I'm a liar lying to you. Fall in love with me, Yin Yin. Will you be my girlfriend?" I buried myself in his arms and nodded vigorously. Later, I never again had to rely on face blindness to mistake people. Because Lu Ziyan had become my exclusive boyfriend, every day he'd show up in front of me, wearing that watch and tell me, "I'm Lu Ziyan, your boyfriend, not some other handsome guy." My colleagues no longer have to watch me gush over the big boss every single day. They've all started teasing me, saying, "Yin Yin, you finally managed to win over our big boss, haven't you?" I leaned against Lu Ziyan's chest with a smile, and he bent down to kiss the top of my head, his eyes brimming with affection. It turns out that the best kind of love is never a breathtaking, lifelong romance at first sight, but rather, it's when he weaves countless coincidences to pave a path straight into his heart. Even if I'm completely oblivious to faces, I can still fall in love with him with pinpoint accuracy.